Hello, everyone, and welcome to HLAA North Bay Chapter September meeting. Just like to welcome people I've seen before in Zoom here and people I haven't. Everybody here, welcome from near and far. Today we have a presentation from Rich Osborne, but before we jump into that, I do have a couple of announcements. First off, our HLAA North Bay chapter is for Marin and Sonoma counties. That's where we're located. We have general meetings on the second Thursdays of the month and our Hope Support Group on the fourth Thursdays. Today, I'd like to thank Alan Katsura from the Diablo Valley chapter for recording this meeting and posting it to a site where other people will be able to enjoy it. Now, we're in September. Coming up on the fourth Thursday of September, we usually have our Hope Support Group. That's September 23rd. But this month, September 23rd, we have a special event from HLAA. It's a movie viewing and a filmmaker feedback. It's called We Hear You, Now Hear Us. It's a documentary about people with hearing loss, the invisible disability that affects 430 million people worldwide. And this talkback will be moderated by Gail Hannon. So instead of our usual Hope Support Group in September, we'll be viewing that, and that link is on our website, and I'll be sending it out in email. Now that's September. Coming up the second Thursday in October is our general meeting with Andy Squires from CTAP, California Telephone Access Program. I know you've heard about California free telephones, but maybe your friends haven't. Maybe there's someone out there who could use a free telephone and you could find out the information and relay that to them. And it's not just telephones. There's amplifiers, there's sonic alert home aware signaling systems, there's devices to connect to cochlear implants. So all of this is coming up in our October meeting. That's the second Thursday. Then the fourth Thursday will be our Hope Support Group. Moving on to November at our general meeting, November 11th, which does happen to be a holiday, but we'll be meeting here in Zoom. Ruth Bridger from Be Here will be here, HEAR, will be presenting about Smarto. It's a personal sound amplifier with Bluetooth. It's called Be Here Smarto, and it provides up to 70 decibels of hearing boost and can be customized based on your hearing test or their own hearing assessment. So that's what's going on. That's what's coming up September, October, November, right here, second and fourth Thursdays. So now I'd like to present a small introduction for our Vice President, Rich Osborne. Rich Osborne's here, and so is our other Vice President, Tana Cooley. So a shout out to Tana Cooley. And a shout out now to Rich Osborne. Rich Osborne is involved locally and statewide with advocating for people with hearing loss. He's vice president of our chapter, and he's a trustee of the HLAA California State Association. He's been presenting virtually and in person to various community groups, including Rotary, Kiwanis, SIR, and soon at the Bethlehem Towers in Santa Rosa. Before Rich retired, he had a career in information technology and was a project manager. So For Rich's presentation, he doesn't mind being interrupted. So if you will raise your hand in reactions at the bottom of the screen, it's got a happy face with a plus, says reactions. There's a hand raising. If you will raise your hand there or get my attention, I'll be looking at the gallery view, or put a question in chat. I'll try to get those to him or call on you to ask the question. So, welcome, Rich.
Okay, well, thank you for that introduction. Taking away half of my speech there, Sarah.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm going to turn on screen sharing. So if you'll just give me a second. Where are we? Here's what I would like to share. And I start the slideshow from the beginning. So give me a thumbs up, or Sarah, give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, great. In that case, I can start talking. Okay, so good afternoon, you guys. I know you well. I call you guys. I apologize for that. But I know you well, and you know me. Today, I want to talk to you about a growing issue, a growing health issue in the United States about hearing loss and how you can help. I'm trying to change slides and it didn't go. Let's see what's wrong.
Rich, hit F5 to get into slide. You're not in slide view yet.
I'm not in slide view yet. All right.
So hit F5 will start it.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, Alan. I just can't get there. Just a minute.
If you just hit F5 on your keyboard, they'll start the presentation.
Right. But it's not letting me click on my presentation to start it. Oh, I hate this. Okay. I'm in my slide and I'm trying to click on start slideshow and it's not letting me do it. Oh, I don't want this problem right now.
Rich, can you just click on them one by one? You're on number 1. Can you go to number 2 in the left-hand column and click on that and move that way?
Well, that's... No, I cannot. Okay, so now hang on a minute. I'm going to... We'll get there quickly. Why is it every time we have a presentation, we have a problem?
Typical.
I think I know the problem. Okay, I'm going to do this manually. Can you all hear me now? I cannot see anybody because I'm looking strictly at my screen.
Yes.
Sarah, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
We can't see your screen yet.
Oh, got it.
Share your screen.
Oh, hang on. When I share my screen, why are we having this trouble?
There you go.
Okay, now I want to tell you my personal hearing story. First of all, many of you already know this, but I am not a professional hearing professional. As Sarah said, I worked in the IT industry. Actually, I call myself a computer nerd. But I do have severe hearing loss, and I've had it as long as I can remember. It was first diagnosed when I was in school, but they didn't do anything about it in those days. They just said, oh, yeah, I have hearing loss. Later in my 40s, I tried hearing aids. I could afford them in. They were very expensive, and they were very large. And they were actually and for my particular hearing loss, they were largely ineffective. I kind of lived with the problem. I actually started to not wear the hearing aids and just lived with it. They didn't help me where it was important in business situations. But when I retired later on, I was not in a business situation, so it had less impact in my life, but it was still very inconvenient in social situations, which I just experienced today in a large meeting. When I first attended HLAA, it was life-changing for me, and that's why I am so involved in trying to help to make sure that everyone else gets the benefits from HLAA that I am getting, HLAA being the Hearing Loss Association of America. But as I said, I want to make you aware of a growing health issue. What do you think it is? You think it's heart disease? You think it's diabetes? Alzheimer's? No, surprise, surprise. It's hearing loss. And in this audience right now, most of you are probably in the 65 to 74 category. 33% of you have hearing loss. I understand since we're a HLAA meeting, it's probably larger than that. But for the population at large, it's still a very large number. Now, when you get into my category, 75 and over, 50% of the people have hearing loss. So it is a large and growing problem. Many of us have hearing loss because of loud noise. Many of our children and grandchildren are suffering from hearing loss because of the music piped directly into their ears and played too loud. And it's going to be an increasingly large problem in our population. Now, you may be surprised, I certainly was, by the number of celebrities who have hearing loss. Sure, I know that Beethoven was deaf and couldn't hear his own symphonies that he composed and conducted. But did you know that Rush Limbaugh had a cochlear implant? Did you know that Halle Berry, Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk, Eric Clapton, the great guitarist, William Shatner, the Star Trek fame, Rob Lowe, your heartthrob, not mine, but yours, and Bill Clinton, our president, and Ronald Reagan, they both had hearing loss. And Ronald Reagan did a great job of covering his up. Now, there is some speculation that President Biden wears hearing aids. Well, being 78, he very well might, since half of us in that category do, but I can't confirm it. Hearing loss can affect people of all ages, as I just said, but it does affect mostly older people, and it gets worse as we get older. And like high blood pressure, we can't see it. We can only see its effects. Now, people with hearing loss typically have trouble with the higher frequencies. Consonants, P, H, G, K are hard. F, T, H, and S are even harder for us. Now, let me just give you a short illustration. So if you can live in my world for a second. Imagine we're in a social event and someone says to me, my pal is in at the park all day. And I only hear what you just heard me say. And then I don't show up at the park on Thursday because I didn't know that his spouse was singing at the park on Thursday and incur his wrath as a result. So that's the world of the people with hearing loss who are missing those important consonants And then with the background noises of social events, we miss out on so much. There's a lot of problems associated with hearing loss. It's not just the fact that we miss out on the spouse singing on Thursday. It's the fact that hearing loss wears us out. And that's because you hear with the brain. Now, maybe your ears pick up the sound through a complex system of nerves and hairs, but it ultimately ends up in a message in a part of your brain that it has to decode and look up in its database what these sounds are, what these words are, and what sequence of these words are supposed to mean to you. This requires a lot of energy on the part of your brain. And when your brain is working hard, you get tired. It saps your strength. And so that's why hearing loss is associated with fatigue. It literally wears you out to listen. Do you or your spouse turn up the sound on the TV? Do you not bother to listen to talk radio in the car anymore? Do you or someone else close to you avoid restaurants and parties? These are all signs of hearing loss. If you answered yes to those, maybe you're suffering from hearing loss. This can cause isolation because it's difficult to hear, it wears you out, so you avoid social situations. Now, imagine you always have to worry about going to church or to a party or to the doctor's office. I just recently had a serious complaint with my dentist because he would not take his mask off and I could not understand what he was saying. So it causes us to avoid these situations and we become isolated. Now, in my world, it caused me ridicule, and maybe you have endured this as well. I've been the brunt of jokes all my life. And one of the criticisms I always got at performance reviews is that I would say the strangest things. Now, what they didn't understand, and I didn't understand, is I was trying to follow the conversation, and I would jump in with what I thought they were talking about, when in reality, I would be out in left field. Now, there might be a link between cognitive decline, dementia, Alzheimer's, because the brain needs input to stay alive, to keep working. With hearing loss, especially with very profound hearing loss, the brain is not working very hard, and it starts to go idle. Now, if you suffer from falls, and you know, as I know, that we seniors avoid falls at all costs. Well, vertigo is a cause of falls, and if you have hearing loss, there might be a very good chance that you also suffer vertigo. So it's a serious associated condition. People with hearing loss require extra effort on your part. You have difficulty communicating with your family and your friends, or vice versa, your friends have difficulty communicating with you. If your spouse is standing in the kitchen, running the dishwasher and saying something, you're sitting in the chair in the living room, you don't hear what he or she says, and you get in trouble. So you need to learn to change that. Orient yourself in front of them. Touch their arm before you speak. Speak slowly. I am speaking slowly. I know it's an inconvenience. It's a nuisance. It's hard on them, especially our grandchildren. They don't want to bother with this, but it's necessary. Something I learned recently is the hearing aids have a range of about 6 feet. So if you're more than 6 feet away, their hearing aids are not helping them, even though they do have them. So I want to talk to you now. I've told you all the problems, but now I want to tell you how to live well, and I want to tell you how you can help the world with hearing loss and the problems associated with it. As I've said, get the listener's attention. Face them directly. I have a bar right in front of me. I apologize for this. I can't see my own slides. It's hard for people with hearing loss to see what you're saying if you're not standing in front of them or if they don't know that you're talking to them. Now, please don't shout. Shouting doesn't help. My dentist did that to me behind his mask, and I still could not, because I could not understand the words, even though it was louder. Something that's particularly helpful is if you will rephrase your question, or if they can rephrase their statement using different words. Now, you know that if I cover my mouth, it's really hard for you to know what I'm saying. And if I'm chewing gum, and if I'm covering my mouth, leaning over like that, can any of you hear what I'm saying? No, of course not. Also, another thing about people with hearing loss is they require a little more time to get a joke. They're processing the beginning of the joke while the person telling it has already moved on and might even be into the punchline. There's been many a time when I've been sitting in church and everyone starts laughing. And I wonder, what did I miss? Why are they laughing? And then I realized I missed the joke. So I want to tell you some other things to do. Don't bluff. I did this all my life. I bet you every one of you did too. Don't bluff. Admit that you have hearing loss. You have to do it. I'm going to warn you right now, it's not easy, but I have now learned that I have to tell people right up front that I have hearing loss. I did that this morning in a meeting, and it was a lifesaver for me. Instead of just trying to pretend like you know what's going on and then chiming in with something that's in left field, tell them you didn't get it. Ask them to face you. Ask them to restate. Watch their lips. I know you do that. Watch their lips. I'm not particularly very good at reading lips. Tana is excellent at it. But I do watch for visual cues. Now, restaurants are the bane of our existence. So when we go into a restaurant, I always try to get us into a well-lit location so I can see what's being said. I know some of you even go so far as to ask for things to be written down, and that's a good thing to do. You can get away from where the dishes are being stacked and ask the waiter not to clear your plate because of the banging of the dishes. One of the things that has really improved our life is technology. I worked in the technology field. I had technology training, programming. I was a programmer and implemented many large database systems. But I didn't realize how much technology has invaded the world for hearing loss benefit. We all know about hearing aids. But you don't get 20/20 hearing with any device out there on the market. With my glasses, I get 20/20. I've got better than 20/20. With my hearing aids, I scarcely improve my regular hearing. And then, as I mentioned to you before, if there's any distance, the hearing aid is of no help whatsoever. Now, technology is coming to our aid. Some hearing aids are going to be getting artificial intelligence to help them pick up on where the sound is coming. Now, as you know, as well as me, hearing aids are considered medical devices and Medicare won't pay for them. Some insurance coverage is coming onto the market, and President Biden is trying to get Medicare to cover hearing aids, but it's not here yet. And hearing aids are very expensive. Since I only hear in one ear, I have one hearing aid, and it costs $5,000. Now, the glasses I'm wearing cost $13, and I get 20/20 vision. I have a hearing aid that costs $5,000, and I get barely better hearing. So it's not fair, it's not right, but that's the way it is. Another technology that has really come on the scene the last 10 years is cochlear implant. Cochlea is what you hear with. That's what's inside your ear, the cochlea. And a cochlear implant is where they drill inside to your head, put wires into your cochlear directly. And then they put a hearing aid device on the outside of your head so that the sound is no longer having to be picked up by the hairs in your ear canal, but is wired transmitted directly into the cochlea of your brain. We have a cochlear implant technology specialist in the audience. Both Sarah and Ann have cochlear implants. They have been vastly improved by it. Other technologies include assistive listening systems, and I'll talk about that in a minute.
Rich,
yes.
Can you hold on a second? D Webb has cochlear implants.
I'm sorry, here. Who was that?
D Webb has cochlear implants too.
Well, okay.
She's here today. She's here today.
Yes, I saw you earlier. Thank you, Dee. I did not know that about you.
Yeah, one implant in the, I can't always forget. right ear.
Side. Right side.
The right side.
Well, I'm trying to join you. I'm trying to get evaluated for a cochlear implant. I've overcome one hurdle only to be stopped by another, but I'm working on it. I'll join you as soon as I can. But I want to mention captions because these help everybody. And I live for captions. You can have captions on your TV. We have captions on our Zoom broadcast. I know how to turn on captions now with my PowerPoint slides. I have a device, thanks to Carolyn Odio, I have a device that allows me to plug my cell phone into a television screen and then an app on my screen that will take the sound and convert it into captions. So captions are really, really important. They all fall under this category of communications access. You know, in the world with the ADA, you've seen curb cuts so that people in wheelchairs can get off the sidewalk and down into the street and vice versa. We should have the same thing. We have a problem with communication and the ADA needs to help us. There are devices, assisted listening devices that you can wear on your head. They're called FM transmitters. And the Summerfield Theater is the place where I used one. They have a device that you put in your cup holder that creates captions from what's being said on the screen. I know you've all seen an American Sign Language person standing next to a prominent politician as they make a speech. That's ASL, or American Sign Language. That's being recognized as a language of its own. Many of us have hearing loss but do not use ASL. We rely on the technology of the other devices. As I said, the ADA has made a number of improvements. Where should we demand these communication access devices that I mentioned? Where should you demand? Well, on this screen, if you've ever been to any of these places on this screen, a museum, an auditorium, a movie theater, a bus, an airport, all of these places should have communications access and the assisted listening devices that we've talked about. If they don't, you need to ask for it.
Rich?
Yes.
Your slide.
We're not seeing it. You need to move to the next slide.
Okay. Here's communications access. Here's where everywhere. Do you see this?
We see the technology slide with hearing aids.
No. I moved on from that. I'm going to go back. And now I'm going to go forward.
Forward, you want to go down to number 11. Go down one.
I'm there, Sarah. Do you see it?
No, you're still on technology with the hearing loop sign. Can you click on the next slide?
I have, Sarah, on my screen. I'm seeing it, but here's what I'm going to do. I seem to have lost screen sharing. Would you do me a favor?
There it goes.
There, it's there. Good.
I didn't do anything. Okay. The mysteries of technology. Now here's something else you can do. Do you see this slide, education and advocacy? Is everyone seeing that?
No, not yet. We just see where, everywhere.
No, I've tried to
Slide
advance.
12.
I have tried to advance to the next slide. I cannot explain what's happening here.
Can you refresh it?
What we're seeing is on your slides on the left, number 12 is highlighted, but number 13 is not. So we're seeing a red border around number 12, and that's showing in the middle of the screen.
Mhm. I don't see any red border.
Right there.
Oh.
Thank you, Ann, but I can't explain it. And I've also lost the option on my screen to stop sharing. And once before I used that option to fix this problem. Boy. What I want you to see is a screen on Education and Advocacy, because Hearing Loss Association of America, HLAA, is our dedicated nonprofit that represents us with hearing loss. Our mission is to help people with hearing loss. We provide information, education, support, advocacy. Advocacy is the most important role that we play. We also offer practical advice about hearing aids and how to be a good supporter of people with hearing loss. We lead support groups, as Sarah talked about earlier. And we have web address topics like employment, parenting, travel, but all from the perspective of hearing loss. When I first found HLAA, I realized that I was not really a pariah. There were other people like me, and I felt really comfortable and got excited about being a part of HLAA. You too should take advantage of HLAA and the community that it offers you. You should use advocacy to talk to your senators and representatives. There are many important elements in the Assembly right now that we are advocating for that will improve your life. We'll be happy to have you join us in that effort. I'm going to be changing slides. I don't know if you're going to see this or not. My guess is you're not seeing this.
No, it's still on number 12.
Right. That's okay. That's not what's happening on my screen, but that's not the important part. It's what's happening on your screen is important. I am screen sharing, but I cannot click on it. So my apologies to you to put you through all of these technical problems. But for some reason, I have lost the ability. I've lost the ability to do anything here. I'm trying different things. Please bear with me. Go ahead.
Have you refreshed your screen?
I have lost the ability to do anything. It's all whited out. It's all gone. So I don't know if the problem is in my computer or if it's in Zoom. Lately, we've had so many problems with Zoom.
It's just possible that your Wi-Fi is slowed up due to buffering and bandwidth limitations that every Wi-Fi system has.
Yeah, I'm sitting right next to my Wi-Fi, so that's unlikely, but that doesn't mean it's not happening.
Well, yeah.
Rich, I can stop the sharing if you want.
I would like you to stop sharing and then let me see if I can share again. So please stop.
Okay.
Bing.
Okay, I see some, while you're working on that, I see some hands up by Alan Katsura and Ann Thomas. And I believe they have some announcements. So, or whatever. So, Alan, do you want to go first?
I'm not sure.
Is that you?
No. Talking about him. This guy.
Alan? Oh, nothing. Okay, Anne, did you have something you wanted to say?
I do. Rich, I'm so sorry that you had this problem today. There's a new update to Zoom, and Alan had a problem at our last meeting, and he's having a problem today. So I saw him shake his head. So something's happening that it's not working for him today too. I was going to ask, Rich, I have your presentation. Do you want me to share the last few slides of your presentation from my side, and let's see if it works? I'd be happy to do that for all of you.
Okay, would you put it up on the slide of the teenage boy?
Okay, let me.
At the same time you do that, I'm going to try something on my end. I'm going to exit the system and try to re-enter. So hopefully I'll see you again soon. But Sarah, keep going with Ann if you can, and I will hopefully rejoin you in just a second.
Anne, I just made you co-host. If you'd like to share, you should be able to now.
Close the other PowerPoints I have open. Hang on a minute.
While Anne is doing that, I know, Alan, that you wanted to say something about an upcoming meeting.
Are you all seeing the PowerPoint?
Oh, yes.
Are you seeing anything else on my screen?
Everything else.
Are you seeing everything else?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Let me get rid of that then. Needless to say, you can all see that I had tons of things open. Okay, let's see.
Okay, I'm back again. Has anyone seen me?
Yeah, interesting.
Yes.
We see the teenage boy.
Perfect. And I'll
With
just start from
earbuds.
right there, because I think it's so ironic. So many people don't like to wear hearing aids because they think it makes them look old. But we see our kids today proudly wearing these big earbuds. They think it looks cool. And they wear them too loud or turn the volume up too loud. But anyway, I just think that's ironic. But as I was trying to say to you, together we can do something about hearing loss. It's a major health issue for our country. Together you can join HLAA, you can help us, and you can help other people who have hearing loss. And you can help your grandchildren deal with you by telling them that you have it. You can help your friends deal with you by telling them what to do, they need to do to help you cope with them. I know that social situations are a real pain. I promise you, I was in one just this morning. And I wanted to get up and leave. I really did. But I said, no, Rich, you've got to push through this. And I want to tell you that you have to push through this. So don't hide under a rock. That's my tendency. But I'm asking you not to do what I would do. But join our group. Attend a chapter meeting. We used to meet in person. And if Zoom keeps getting in our way, we might start meeting in person again. We were really doing quite well. We started out with Google Meet and then switched to Zoom when they added captions. And we've been meeting quite well with Zoom and been considering having a hybrid of in-person meetings and Zoom meetings. And we have not decided yet which way we're going to go. But join in because it helps you get out, keeps you from hiding under a rock. It helps you learn about technology. I just learned about a wonderful technology from Fran Titlow, who's on our call today, called Listen Everywhere. And I hope to be able to tell you more about it in the near future. I've got Alan McKee working on it, and I am working on it. We want to try to use it in his case, in the yacht club, San Francisco Yacht Club, and in my case, at Bethlehem Towers. I've talked to Bethlehem Towers about it. So we may very soon have a new technology to talk to you about that will work with hearing loss on your smartphone and your Bluetooth-enabled hearing aids. And if you join our meeting, we'll show you how to advocate. We'll give you the links, the letters to send to your congressman Well, I ask you to help us get legislation passed that gets Medicare coverage, that gets captions in meetings. Did you know that most government meetings are supposed to be captioned and they're not? So we need to work on that. So we've had a few problems and worked our way through it. I thank you for your patience, and I welcome for any questions that you would like to ask me. If you want to send me an email, feel free to send it to, it should be R. Osborne, not Rich Osborne, but R. Osborne at hearinglossnorthbay.org. And our website for our chapter is www.hearinglossnorthbay.org.
Rich, Dana has a question for you.
Dana, hi.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Excuse me. Alan Katza, didn't you have something you wanted to say?
I'm in the process of being locked out. I got the Zoom zombie, much like Rich did. So I don't have control over my screen. And so what I have to share, I had to put something in the chat. So we're going to let it go for now.
Yeah, and here I am a tech guy and I'm having trouble. I was in the process of changing my screen view and I ended up losing all ability. So Zoom must be having troubles. There must be too successful. Their stock is, quadrupled and everybody has become a millionaire and we are becoming the victims. I've finished my presentation and I'd be happy to entertain any other questions. Dee, I didn't know you were cochlear implant, so congratulations on that.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a question from Julia Olson. Julia.
Rich's screen is still up.
Okay, I can't turn my screen off. Is there any chance you could turn my screen off?
Let me.
Oh, here, I found it.
Julia,
Here we
you're
go.
muted. Julia, you're muted.
Oh, I can see all of you now. Hi, everybody.
You're muted.
Fran has
again.
her hand up. Fran, can you wait just a second?
Sure, sure.
Get through here. Dana is trying to talk. Can you talk? Dana?
Oh,
I'm trying to tell Julia that she's muted. I thought she wanted to speak.
Okay, Julia is trying to talk and we can't seem to hear her. She's muted. Sarah, can you unmute her?
I'm trying. I've been sending her that message to unmute. I'm trying to see if there's another way to unmute her. No, let's see. I've sent her there she is. Now talk. Yeah, good.
I think I'm still muted according to my computer.
You're fine.
Can you hear me? Okay. I am locked down too. I couldn't change the mute button. I couldn't do anything and I could not chat. So it's just crazy. But I just wanted to, first of all, I want to say I'm from Wisconsin. So it's supper hour here. It's past supper hour. But your experience, Rich, is so similar to mine. I just got into this a lot sooner than you did. I've been involved for 40 years. But it's so important for us to advocate and educate. And I just wrote a piece just this afternoon, and we have a loop committee here, and Wisconsin has over 900 loops installed in the state. And, we've done a remarkable job, but our problem is still getting the audiologists and the hearing instrument specialists to sell hearing aids with telecoils. And, it's what comes first, the chicken or the egg. And we've already got the chicken out there as far as the loops are concerned, and they are still not telling people about telecoils. And I don't know how we change that mentality, but it is a huge problem. And the other thing I really wanted to start by saying was thank you for having problems, because we know all about that with our Zoom programs. We've gone through all this stuff, and it's such a learning experience. It's such a wonderful means to communicate, and it does give us opportunities that we wouldn't have otherwise. So I hope it all clears itself up and that we all figure it out. But this is the first time I have seen this particular problem. So we have a meeting on Monday night. Now I'm nervous. So I hope we don't see this. I hope Zoom figures this out. But congratulations to you for getting out there and telling the public about this wonderful organization. It has saved many lives, and I would say mine is one of them. I am so glad I discovered this organization, and it's really given me a purpose for understanding my hearing loss. So I don't need to say any more, but thanks.
Julia, do what Ann said. Update your Zoom to the latest issue. I updated my Zoom just a few days ago, and look at all the problems I had.
Yeah.
And
right now the captions are not
Alan Katsura is having.
So
Dana, would you like to speak?
Is it possible to add a telecoil after the fact?
Yes.
Okay.
It used to be, but with these tiny hearing aids now, I don't think so.
Okay.
They cannot be retrofit.
No.
Oh, I didn't know that, because they did put it on my, they must have replaced the whole thing then.
So
I know in my case,
they may have replaced the whole device, or some of the new aids, the telecoil isn't in the aid, it's in the accessory.
Right.
So it could be in a microphone,
that's what I have.
Could be in a neck loop, could be in something like that.
Are we on mute?
Fran, would you like to talk?
Well, I have a comment about Rich's statement about having artificial intelligence in the hearing aids now. I switched to Kenwood Hearing about a month ago and have tried Phonak and Widex. And this latest one he gave me to try was the Oticon with artificial intelligence. And I tell you, you don't have to fiddle around with restaurant or quiet or anything. He said this artificial intelligence kind of knows the situation you're in and adjusts accordingly. And I tried it out at church, and I went with a friend to a restaurant the other day, and there is no comparison. I feel like I've got my life back again. It is absolutely amazing. It tones down things. I don't hear the noise. So I think this is the hearing aid I'm going to end up with, is the new what did I just say? Oticon.
Oticon.
Yeah. So I'm just so excited. I'm just, I'm hearing things I haven't heard in quite a while. And so my brain is getting used to that again. And I'm just so happy. So that's the one, the other hearing aid dispenser I had was, didn't offer me the option of trying things out, and Kenwood did. So
I see a couple of hands up here, Sarah.
Anyway, I just wanted to make that comment.
Okay, let's hear from Ann Thomas.
So, Fran, I have a couple of questions for you. So, is the name of the Oticon hearing aid that you're trying called More?
More one.
And did you try the Phonak Paradise?
No, I didn't try. I don't know what it was because it was a loaner and I didn't think to look. But it was a Phonak and the other was a Widex, and I don't know what brand or what feet, you know. It's just that he told me he thought I'd be happy with this one.
So
And the artificial intelligence that this has, I don't want to have to think about what one I'm in. This one just does it for me.
Yeah. The reason I was asking is because, you know, hearing devices are at different levels. And
right.
The model for Phonak that would be at the same level as the model for Oticon is called the Paradise. And
okay, let me mark that down.
Interested to meet somebody who recently had tried both of those two to have the conversation about, you would be talking about apples to apples and why you liked one.
Okay, that's the Phonak. I'll ask him. No, is that the Phonak?
So the premier Phonak hearing aid at the moment is called Paradise.
Okay, I'll ask
the premier Oticon hearing aid is called More.
I'll ask him. Phonak. Phonak, AC?
Phonak.
AK, okay.
Alan's trying to get in here. Alan, why don't you go ahead? No? No, he's not. Okay, he can't turn off his hand. Okay. And Catherine, are you still with us or are you just on the phone here? I see 3 people with no pictures. Well, I guess you must be on the phone and probably muted as well. Oh, there you are. Hi there. Catherine's in charge of the Bethlehem Towers. She's been very helpful to us.
Yeah, good meeting.
I also see Jim Oser's popping up here. Julie from Wisconsin. That is great. That is great. Any more questions for me, you guys? Oh, there I go again, calling you guys.
Rich, can you explain, just give us an idea of the kind of questions that people have asked in your Rotary and Kiwanis and SIR groups, or what they've been especially interested in. I mean, we're the people with the hearing loss, the people you present this to, they're just learning about this maybe. So I'm curious what their reactions have been.
Yes, and it's interesting. It's always the same question. I can't hear when somebody has a mask on. And I say, join the club. I say, welcome to my world. The other question that you get a lot is, why are hearing aids so expensive? I can't answer that one, but I can tell you they are expensive, as I did before. We need to advocate for insurance coverage. There is hope on the horizon, and I'd like to get you to contact your representatives about this, because Medicare covering insurance, providing insurance for us could go a long ways. That's, unfortunately, hearing aids are expensive because they can be. Glasses are cheap because they don't have to be expensive.
Right. I think Ann Thomas knows about the Medicare bill that you're talking about. Ann, could you let all of us know how we can be helpful with that?
You're
I'll go
muted,
ahead
Ann.
and
There you
pull
go.
up the HLAA website so people can see where that is to get information. So hang on one second.
Yeah, I would try to share my screen, but I'm afraid to now.
Yeah, no, I know. Oops.
Can't even leave.
Okay. And so everybody who's here, I'm using a Mac, and everybody who's having problems with the latest version of Zoom, I think are using PCs with PCs. So I haven't personally had a problem. So you go to the HLAA website, and all of you, everybody should be signed up for the HLAA e-news. And if you're signed up for the e-news, you're getting information on a regular basis about what's going on with HLAA and things like that. And so we have been frequently notified since mid-August about the action alert for Medicare. So if you didn't receive that, you can go to the HLAA website, which is called Hearing Loss, simple to remember, hearingloss.org. And this is the search window here, which is the magnifying glass, and just put Medicare in there. And I've already gone past one screen. I'll go back so you can see what happens. So this is the window that shows up when you put Medicare in here. And the action alert is Medicare coverage for hearing aids. And this is the alert. And if you look here, you can find your representative or your senator. They have given us a suggested correspondence to send with your email. So if you're happy with what the HLAA has given as a suggestion, you can just copy and paste that in there. One thing that I want to bring to your attention, if you copy and paste it, make sure that you fill in the name of your senator or representative. I think it could be very easy to forget that this needs to be altered, and you could just by mistake say it, press send. So this is a really, really, really important, this is the closest we've probably ever been to getting people's attention about Medicare and maybe getting it to cover, my understanding is it's covering devices and services. So there are some situations where people may have a hearing aid covered under one thing but not have services. And Rich was talking about he wasn't sure that he understood why hearing aids are so expensive. The aid itself is not so expensive. It's the services. So your audiologist has to maintain a business. They have to pay rent, they have to pay utilities, they have to pay all of those ongoing services. And that's where the expense comes in with your devices. And if you compare that, somebody might be saying, okay, well, why is Costco so much less expensive? Because the overhead for the business of Costco is covered by the full business. So does anybody have any questions about this Medicare bill? Or how to go about doing that? Maybe I can probably click on this and you can see. So you just put your zip code in here. And I'll do mine. And that's my representative. And see here, there's a little envelope. When you click on his envelope, takes you right to send him a message. Okay, you can paste the message right in here. So they made it really pretty easy for us to be able to participate in this. So I think that the Senate, for me, the I have 2 senators. So you go to California. So we have Dianne Feinstein and Alex Padilla. And so here it says contact. All you have to do is press contact. And they're asking what you want to connect about. You can just paste the message right there and you're done. In one afternoon, I think I did it in a half an hour. So they're looking for numbers here. How many people are they going to hear from? And I think it would be a real shame if our representatives in California weren't in favor of this bill. So we all have to speak up. Thanks, Sarah. Back to you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anne. You make it, with your instructions, it makes it easier for us to go there and do that. It does require that hand holding that you're able to do, and we really appreciate that.
And I'm jealous. Well, how come you share your screen and I can't share mine? I'm jealous.
That's really weird.
Are there other questions or comments or anything you found in the presentation that you want to bring to Rich's attention? Oh, I see. Julia, please.
I'm back. I just wanted to say that during the process here, I could not get the captions. I could not open chat. It was just stuck. I could hear everything being said. But I hope you figure out what the Zoom problem is, because we all need to know what on earth it is that's going on. But I actually X'd out of the whole thing and went back to the join level and had you let me re-enter the room. So sometimes just stopping it completely is what might help. I'm just saying that because that's what worked for me. But Rich, I think your program is great. And I think you're telling people what they need to hear. Most of us know all that, but it gives us a good review so that we can talk to others and explain what's going on with us. So thank you for the work you're doing. That's very commendable.
Sarah asked what questions I hear. One of the questions I hear is, wow, I didn't know any of that. Julie, this audience here knows all of it.
This audience.
When I'm talking to a Kiwanis group, they are shocked. They're shocked that people have hearing loss. They're shocked. And then a lot of them will say, oh, my grandkids do that. Or my spouse does that. So most of the time when I'm making these presentations, they say, oh my gosh, I sure learned a lot from what you just said. I'll try to practice that. I don't know how far it gets, whether it stays, after the meeting and stays or not, and seldom do they follow up with me. So it might be going by the wayside, but it is pretty common that people just ignore this whole issue.
One of the other things they say often is, you don't look like you have a hearing loss.
Yeah, because you're not wearing hearing aids, right?
Yeah. I've got hearing aids and a cochlear implant, and they're usually very visible, but they don't know what you're supposed to look like if you have a hearing loss. So it's interesting. People have some very, very strange ideas.
Oh, okay. So
the sound is going in and out.
So Anne Thomas has her hand up again. Then we'll go to Fran.
Julie, you need to send us a message to Zoom support. Tell them what operating system you're using and what's happening to you so that they're getting feedback about this. So you need to advocate for your technology there too.
Yep.
Okay. Fran, you had your hand.
I just had an interesting experience this afternoon at the Y. The instructors there, it's like the worst case scenario. They're talking, they've got music playing, and the participants are talking. And so anyway, I when I got out of the pool, one of the ladies had said to me, "You're not the only one that has hearing loss." And I said, "Yeah, I know. It's hard to tell in there because we don't wear our." Anyway, she said to me, she said, "I have trouble hearing too, and I don't suffer from hearing loss." So she actually said, "I have a hard time hearing too, but I don't suffer. I'm not hearing impaired." And I thought, what do you think hearing impaired means? I just had to crack up with that. She, she says, "I hear the same way, but I don't suffer from hearing loss." And I wanted to, I don't know, it's comical. So people don't think they have hearing loss, even though they have, and this is part of the problem we have here at Bethlehem Tower, is people don't think they have hearing loss, and yet they'll interrupt people to ask what someone says. And yet they don't think they suffer from hearing loss, and then they make it miserable. So it's going to be interesting when Rich gives his presentation here. I don't know how many people will come. Hopefully we'll be able to get a bunch, but I know it's really, that was just happened this afternoon, that's why. So I just thought I'd share that.
Right. Yes. Oh, D. Alan Webb, please.
This is Alan. This is Alan Webb. I just wanted to imagine most people know this. I have an app that I've been using recently that helps a lot with captioning, and I'll just show you. Can you see the screen? I don't know if you can see the screen. It may come out backwards. It looks backwards to me. But we use this a lot in public situations like restaurants. Can you see it? Let's see, it'll switch sideways. Restaurants and doctor's offices and all over where people are wearing masks these days. This will pick up voices through a mask. The only thing that, and this is an app called Live Transcribe, and this version will, the Android version is free. The version I'm using is for an iPhone, and it's not free, but it's very inexpensive. For a year, I maybe pay $15 or something like that for a year of the service. It works pretty well, as you can see. So I recommend that. It's not hard to download. It only takes a minute or two to download, and you can find it on, again, that's Live Space Transcribe. Look that up in Google, and you can install it fairly easily. That's it. The only thing that interferes with this is when music is playing. And for some reason, restaurants these days, or always, have played music so loud that you can't, sometimes this doesn't work when music is playing. Music interferes and other noises interfere, but generally it works well.
Okay, I think Jim Moser was showing that he has a captioning on his iPad. Would you like to tell us what you're using, Jim?
Well, Alan told me a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a month now, that he was using this with his iPhone. So I just downloaded and installed the same thing for my iPad.
Okay, so that's the Live Transcribe. Good to know. It's so great to know what works. Other people have raised hands. I see, Julia, are you finished? Or you?
I'm done. I don't know why that came back up.
Okay, Anne, do you have more to say?
I was just going to mention that there are multiple captioning apps and that people need to experiment with them. I use a different one than Live Transcribe. I use one called Ava, and an advantage of Ava over, to the best of my knowledge, there's no other app that does this, It allows you to maintain social distancing because you can connect to more than one person at a time over distance. So all of the other apps, it's just a running stream of whatever sound they hear. But theoretically, right now, if anybody else here had Ava on their phones, I could connect to them from my house, and we would be two different people in the conversation. And you can have up to, I believe at this time, it's 10 different people in the conversation. So just letting people know that there's variety.
Yes, thank you.
Is there a charge for that?
Ava has a free account that's available to people. Now, if you were in a healthcare scenario, see, at the moment, it's really important for us that we can maintain social distancing, and all of the apps that are doing speech to text have a range on them from the microphone. And so the closer you are to the microphone, the more accurate the captions are. And so Ava happens to have different levels of accuracy. So the free version has basic accuracy. If you needed better accuracy, you could have a paid program. They also have something that they call is Scribe, and they are saying that it'll be 99% accurate. So if you were in some kind of a situation, I could think some healthcare situations, I think I might request Scribe. If I had a legal situation, I was talking to a lawyer, or my finances, I might request Scribe, because I would really definitely want to make sure that I had the highest rate of accuracy.